Can Vanderbilt really become the best program in the country? Never say never, but it definitely won't be this year. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to break down, predict, and analyze Vanderbilt's schedule and record for this upcoming college football season. A season where Vanderbilt is going to struggle once again. Clark Lee came out and said that in time, Vanderbilt's going to become the best program in the country, and we know that. And, I hope that's the case because, man, what a world we'd be living in if Vanderbilt was, making the playoff or winning national champions in football and not academics. But, Vanderbilt is going to struggle again in 2022, just to put it bluntly. The Commodores went 2-10 in 2021. Their only wins coming against Colorado State and UConn by a combined 5 points. And you look at the numbers brought to you by College Football Encyclopedia, the Commodores returned 67% of their production from last year, which ranks 51st in the nation, but their ranks were god-awful. 118th on offense last year, 118th on defense last year. So at least they're consistent in those numbers. When you look at the offense, guys, they have a quarterback battle going on, whether it's going to be Mike Wright or Ken Seals. Right now, we're actually going to give the edge to Mike Wright just because he's more athletic than Ken Seals. Definitely has that dual threat ability, has the speed. If he can work on his passing, he will be the bona fide set starter for Vanderbilt. The offensive line should be a little bit better for Vandy this year, and this whole team as a whole offensively should improve on offense. They only average 15.8 points per game, just a little over 300 yards per game. Both of those numbers should improve drastically in 2022. Defensively, Vanderbilt returned 6 starters, a team that only had 9 sacks last year, but somehow managed to pick off their opponents 13 times. They had 13 interceptions, but only 9 sacks. So the defensive line definitely needs help. The back seven, once again, looks extremely strong. Anthony Orji is returning at linebacker. He's the leader and the anchor down of this defense. Will they be able to do anything and improve from that mark that, again, was 118th nationally in 2021? You take a look at the schedule, guys. Vanderbilt, if they want to improve on their win total from last year, they're really going to need to try to do their damage in the non-conference. So the first 4 games against Hawaii, Elon, Wake Forest, and Northern Illinois. I'll come out here and say, though, that in the first game, week 0 against Hawaii, I think Vanderbilt wins. And that would actually be what some would say is a quality win for the Commodores. Because I don't care who you are, any team that has to travel that far, overseas into Hawaii, still in the United States, but right over the ocean into the islands, that's a tough place to play. It's a tough flight, it's a tough environment, you're distracted by your surroundings, and Vanderbilt, coming from Nashville to Hawaii, it's a long ways to go. But the Rainbow Warriors are dealing with a brand new coach and have the least amount of returning production out of all college football teams. The least amount of returning production, dead last in returning production. And I think that's going to be an area where Vanderbilt owns the edge. Vanderbilt's in year 2 of their coach. Wasn't great, but year 2, they have talent. 67% of their talent returning from last year. I think that's where Vanderbilt owns the edge here. So it won't be pretty. It will be close. But I do believe Vanderbilt is the better team than Hawaii right now. And despite the tough road environment, will get a win. So they beat Hawaii. I believe they're going to beat Elon. Can't, move too fast past these FCS opponents. Vanderbilt got killed by East Tennessee State last year. But I do believe they're going to win that game, and so Clark Lee's squad, after going 2-10 last year, is now 2-0 to start 2022. So talk about a little bit of improvement. They then host Wake Forest, and that's going to be a loss. Wake Forest, the ACC runner-up from last year, only falling to Pittsburgh, has one of the best passing attacks in the country this year, led by Sam Hartman. Vanderbilt was 114th versus the pass. Demon Deacon's guys simply are too good. So they will drop that game, and I do believe they will drop the game to Northern Illinois, a Northern Illinois team that went 9-5 last year, won the MAC, returns 15 starters, including their quarterback in Rocky Lombardi. And let's keep in mind the Huskies had the 4th ranked rushing attack in the entire country last year. So all those things combined, the talent coming back from Northern Illinois, the ability to run the ball, the home field advantage on top of that, I just don't think Vanderbilt has enough to take down the Huskies despite facing them from a inferior conference. So 2-0 to 2-2, Vanderbilt now heads into SEC play, and it's going to be tough. And I think we can go through it pretty quick. They didn't win a conference game last year, and it's going to be questionable to see if they can win a conference game this year. It's unfortunate that Vanderbilt opens up their conference slate against Alabama. God, what a horrible way. Arguably the worst team in the SEC versus the best team in the SEC, and it's in Tuscaloosa. Vanderbilt lost to Georgia 62-0 last year, and we could be in store for a similar result against Alabama. So they drop the game to the Crimson Tide. They get their first bye week of the year and take on Ole Miss, a team they did drop 17 points on last year, but still fell 31-17. Yes, they get to host the Rebels. Yes, they might be able to muster 10, 17 points again because I think the offense has improved that much. But defensively, Vanderbilt will not have enough to shut down this high-powered Ole Miss offense. So they fall to the Rebels. Definitely fall to Georgia, reigning national champions, lost them 62-0 last year. No need to touch much on it. They go on the road to face Missouri, and I'll tell you right now that if Vanderbilt's going to win a conference game, it's going to come against Missouri or South Carolina. So it's going to come within those next two games. But I'll tell you right now, I don't think they beat Missouri. I don't think they're able to beat the Tigers. They fell to them 37-28 last year, so actually one of their better offensive performances of the year. That's mostly because Missouri's defense was so bad. The Tigers aren't going to be much of anything in 2022 this year, but with home field advantage, I think a better offense as a whole, despite their quarterback questions as well, and a defense that should improve a little bit. I do believe Eli Drinkwitz and the Tigers get the job done. Vanderbilt drops that game, gets their second bye week right before hosting South Carolina. And again, this is a game that Vanderbilt, I think, could win. Almost did last year in Columbia, only falling 21-20. But you look at South Carolina now, also in year two under their head coach in Shane Beamer. They finally have quarterback consistency with Spencer Rattler coming in over from Oklahoma. The defense is way underrated right now. South Carolina has lofty expectations, and really the main reason that the Gamecocks struggled last year was because of the quarterback inconsistency. Vanderbilt showed up, came ready to play, and were seconds away from winning that game. And then Zeb Nolan came in off the bench, off the coaching staff, really more of a GA, came in, won the game for South Carolina. So one of the better stories of the season. We're not going to see any late game heroics like that because I think South Carolina will be in control for the majority of this game. So Vanderbilt does drop this game to the Gamecocks, and like we mentioned, if they were going to win a conference game, it was going to come against Missouri or South Carolina. They're not able to get either. We believe they dropped their next three, their final three, at Kentucky, lost to them by 17 last year. Games in Lexington, Will Levis, Chris Rodriguez, a very, very solid front seven defensively from Mark Stoops and the Wildcats. Don't see Vanderbilt being able to exploit much of that. They take on Florida at home, lost to the Gators 42-0 last year. Don't think this Commodores defense has enough to shut down Anthony Richardson. Florida won't be great this year, but does have way too much talent and a very underrated defense, similar to South Carolina's, that should be able to get the win at Vanderbilt, despite it being almost senior night for the Commodores, I should say. And then on senior night, they take on Tennessee, the in-state rivalry game. No need to touch much on that one either. They lost to the Volunteers 45-21. And if you want to talk about an offense that could tear up this Vanderbilt defense, it's Tennessee. It's Tennessee. Hendon Hooker and that passing attack, they're going to be electric. 7th-ranked passing attack in the country last year, and they're going to probably be even better in 2022. So much that Vanderbilt's not going to have much of an answer for them, despite it being senior night. So having said all that, guys, someone would look at this and go, it's Vanderbilt. We never want to say, oh, it's just Vanderbilt. Mark them all off as losses. It's a very big rebuilding process in Nashville. We do believe the Commodores start strong, 2-0. And then lose their next 10 games. Those other two non-conference games are tough. The SEC slate is tough. That is life in the SEC. That is life in the SEC when you're Vanderbilt. The Commodores will struggle. They'll be a little bit more competitive than they were last year. I will go out and say that. But they're still a couple years away from just being in a position to make a bowl game. And they might be even decades away from becoming the best program in the country. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to check those out and sign up for those today. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.